Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome back to YouTube Gaming Community number 117. Rule number 1, never ever say you're going to make videos and then for some reason you can't. Because in a couple days we're getting a love seat and a new couch, replace the couch upstairs, and the love seat will replace the tiny couch down here in the game room. The couch me and my wife have basically had since we first started dating and moved in together. We had no furniture, a friend of hers was just getting rid of it, and we got it for free. The couch is literally this far off the ground. That's how short of a couch it is. And so it's one of the few items I think we've basically had since we've been together through our whole relationship, so we're finally getting rid of that. Making room in the garage, because both of them are going out in the garage, and we move the other two in, and then figure out some way to get rid of the other two. On top of that, around my son's school, strep throat's going around, and right now he's coughing like crazy and really sick. I didn't know if I was going to honestly get this video done, even though I said I was going to, because getting him to bed he was just coughing like crazy, but luckily we got him to calm down and he went to sleep. The joys of life, they just, you know, the little obstacles you gotta get through. So let's get to the topic of the day, shall we? And this is something I saw interesting on the internet today, and it just gave me the idea. Would you like to see Working Designs come back today under a different name? Because if you didn't know, Guy John Works is actually run by Ireland, the same guy who ran Working Designs. And currently what he's doing with that company is he's acquired, you know, the rights to bring Ark the Lad games, you know, to PlayStation Network, you know, online downloadable. And he's also bringing out other old Working Design games, PlayStation 1 ones right now, slowly bringing those out. He said they're not very lucrative, but it's kind of building blocks, you know, for fan service, and not only that, but to get the companies to see that they can do a good job at it, so that hopefully they can build the trust so they can release the new titles over here and bring them to the shelves. And I thought, for those who don't know what Working Designs was, Working Designs was a company who brought RPGs over here and sometimes didn't translate them properly and took some liberties, which made the games at times funny, but also they're the ones who started the collector's editions or premium editions that you see now. In the early 90s, especially during the PlayStation 1 era, like, you know, Lunar 2 Complete, you know, just the music and everything that's in here. They were the ones who originated this. And I know some people would say, well, do we really need Working Designs today? Because like NES America's kind of picked up the ball with that on the PS3, even though they're bringing out like quirky RPGs now, what people would call traditional in a sense. You have Atlas bringing out their games like Catherine and other stuff with their editions, and you have, last but not least, you have Xseed bringing out their games on the PSP, all in a sense doing some of the things that Working Designs used to do. And of course these collector sets and how crazy they went also in the end did do Working Designs in. But if it was to come back in a different company name, would you want it to come back, and would you pre-order their games? For me, I loved Working Designs. I loved all the extras. If they were to come back and bring a new game out here, I would definitely pre-order it. You know, under Guy John Works, I would definitely pre-order the game and buy it. Of course, you know, having companies like that around won't hurt, because then you might see games like Xenoblade and stuff. They would actually maybe acquire the rights to bring that over here. There are a lot of RPGs, unfortunately, that don't make it here to the States because they don't believe they could sell. To have a company do that, just like Working Designs show in the early 90s, that people will buy those games. The one thing that Working Designs would have to do that the other companies have learned, you cannot print millions of copies of RPGs. That you have to have a limited run. Right now, the amount of people buying RPGs is lower than it used to be, kind of like it used to be back, you know, in the earlier 16-8-bit era. And so you'd have to do a limited run, and if the game sells good, then you could release more. So, in your comments below, would you like to see Working Designs come back as a company in a different name? Or maybe you have reasons why you would not like to see it come back. Maybe you think the past is the past. So, now let's get to some of the comments from YouTube Gaming Community number 116. Basically, you know, what is your favorite series this generation? And there was a lot of different comments to this. Some people brought up games like new Super Mario Brothers, which I don't consider, you know, new, because it's just the old with a little bit of change in it. And some people brought other series that originally did not come out, you know, originally started the generation before. But the first one I have from a comment is from 94 Lashland, and it was, Mass Effect is the best series of this generation for me. I loved BioWare before the EA monster took it over. The first Mass Effect was RPG perfection, but then EA took over. Mass Effect was still good, but felt lower quality. I have hope for Mass Effect 3, but it's looking like they made it into another shooter. Even though EA is ruining it, it's still my favorite series. Now, I only played Mass Effect 2, and it is a great game. I have yet to beat the game or go all the way through it. The only thing I don't understand about the series is, again, I've heard, I don't know, that you have to rebuild your team again for a third time. That part I don't understand, but I liked the game. I liked all the choices. I actually liked pretty much most of every BioWare game they've come out this generation. And Mass Effect is a good series. Next, I Might Be a Geek said, still hoping it actually becomes a series, but Mirror's Edge is my favorite this gen. It was something new, it was stylish, the music accompanied the whole field perfectly, and hell, I just had a lot of fun with it. I still go back and play through the levels to try to improve my time. Now, a lot of people said they loved Mirror's Edge, and I know why. The chance of Mirror's Edge 2 is not as, a big thing that could happen. The truth is, what EA and the developers said, they'd like to take what Mirror's Edge was and incorporate that into different games. So you may see kind of like a successor in a sense, just not the same name and not the entire same game. Next up, Nerox said, I like the dirt racing games in this generation, Dirt 1, 2, and 3. Pretty much, I mostly play racing games in this generation. And I will say this. I've seen gameplay in Dirt. It looks really good. I know Dirt 1, I guess, was a pretty hard game to play. And this generation, there haven't been a lot of what you call, again, I don't play a lot of racers this generation. There haven't been a lot of great racers, right? I mean, you did get Gran Turismo. You got your Need for Speed and stuff, but when you look back at this generation, let's just take racing as an example. I mean, someday maybe I'll tackle this. What would be the de facto racing game of this generation? Just a question. Anyway, Foxio Games said, I'm going to surprise people, but my favorite new series, as in game I know will be followed by sequel/prequel, is Darksiders. This is everything that the latest Zelda should have been, but wasn't. Darksiders starts out with the combat, no major lures in the action, and has a ton of awesome power-ups, weapons, and secrets to collect. It's a great game for the completionist who wants to collect everything, and it's just really fun. This is a game that I've been meaning to pick up. I know it's really cheap now, but I haven't. I know they're making a sequel. Another game a lot of people loved. And a lot of people said it was like Zelda, and heck, I love Zelda. Someday I do need to check that game out. Next up, Freak Indie said, Portal by far is just an amazing series of game in every conceivable way. And Crow111 went into it even further about it. I had a really hard time thinking of games series I liked that started this generation. I looked through my collection, and everything I like either started in previous generations or is the only game in the series. Then I came across the perfect answer, Portal. Both Portal 1 and 2 are really clever first-person puzzle games and probably the most unique games to be developed this generation. When I played those games, I never wanted to stop because I kept wanting to see what was next. And it's kind of funny how a game, Portal 1, that was just tacked on, to the orange box and was, a relatively short game, became so popular that they made a sequel. I've only played a little bit of Portal 1, just haven't had a time to dig into the whole thing. And it's interesting how much that game's revered, in the community. And just because it's unique, there's nothing out there like it. And the truth is, one of the things people don't talk, as we get more and more generations on, and more series are built, you're going to see, in a sense, less and less new series develop because they're just going to go back to the tried and true. Like, if everybody wants to know what we're going to talk about next YouTube Game Community on Wednesday, would be the fact that we're now in 25th years of Castlevania. And that instead of developers taking a risk and releasing and making a new IP, what they're going to end up doing is dusting off older ones who they know have a little fanfare and keep going forward with those. And so all they're going to do is add the new twist to the older games, and they're just going to, it's going to be harder for newer series. So, and it was a hard one. Gears 3, for me, I beat the campaign of Gears of War 3 on Saturday. I've played all 12 rounds of Beast Mode, and I'm working on getting all 250 rounds of Horde Mode. And I'm actually going through the campaign again on hardcore. And the one thing they do in that game for a first-person shooter is interesting is they have medals. And to get the Onyx level medals in these things, you have to, you know, play several hours. Like, for example, Beast Mode. Okay, you get the medal for doing 60 rounds. Once that's over, then the next level of that medal, you have to play 180. So you count to 60. So it means you got to play 120 more rounds. Win 120 more rounds. Not just play, but win. And so in that way, it does give people goals to continue playing a first-person shooter, which is something I think does lack first-person shooters. Is once you get the achievements or prestige or whatever, you have to give people reasons to keep playing. And in some ways, that does a pretty good job of it. So enough about that. Let's get to videos to check out. And the first one is by XCVII007R1, Gears of War 3 All Collectible Location Guide. And not only did the video show you where they all are, but in the description he shows you exactly where in the video each one is in case you need a certain one. Next up is Giron79, the Retro Gambler Game Room Tour Part 1. If you want to see his awesome game room tour, go check out that video. Next up is Luke Morse 1, a few Neo-Geo AES game pickups. He picked up some really cool Neo-Geo games for people who love Neo-Geo games. They, you know, for some reason, I didn't play much Neo-Geo, but the Neo-Geo, it's just always been that magical system for me. And I think it's because it's more of a as perfect to arcade quality you've ever seen. You know, if you bought the game, you know, hey, I got the arcade game. And because they were so expensive back then, that even in my mind today, I still think of it that way. Next, Quick Freeze 4, visiting Game Underground in Framingham, MA. If you want to see this really cool game store, check out the video. Next is MeetingFlipper, Community Convoy Episode 1, Dead Space 3, Homefront 2, and PlayStation. This is a new series he started where basically he's talking about games. You know, he talks about, you know, what he'd like to see in Dead Space 3, the fact that Crytek is taking over Homefront 2, which I did like Homefront. I liked Homefront for more, I would say more the potential of the series than actually the way it turned out. Where you played Homefront, you go, oh, I see where they could do with this if they had the right people who made it. More than, wow, this game blew me away. And about the PlayStation and how they just basically, when they come out with limited edition, unlike Microsoft with Gears of War 3, which looks amazing, how, you know, they repaint the outside and make it look nice. For PlayStation limited edition, it's still PlayStation. It doesn't look any different than the base system. So if you should check that series out of his. Next is JillPooThree, Halloween Contest 2011. He's giving away Eternal Darkness for the GameCube. So basically what you got to do is, basically says favorite the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment. So you should check that video out. Next up is Ballnick 1982, his discussion of handheld versus consoles. Now, this is an interesting topic that I know some people are torn about. The truth is, if you want to take this sales this generation, handhelds blew away the home consoles by a landslide. And for anybody, I know people are going to argue, well, the better the games are on console. The truth of the matter is, there are a lot of great games made for the handheld. There are a lot of great games made for the consoles. Games made for the handheld that are great won't work on a console. Games made for the console that are great won't work on a handheld. And to me, I love both. The truth is, I love both of them, and I love them both for different reasons. But if you're interested to listen to what he says or add to discussion, check out that video. And for another discussion video, Atarileaf did discussion video MAME versus cart completion compliances. Oh, for crying out loud, right? Compilations. Is arcade accuracy important? Man, talk about just messing that all up. Basically, he talks about MAME emulates almost perfectly the arcade original, so why play a supposed inferior cartridge containing several arcade ports when you can play the real thing on PC? And one of the points he brings up, which is a great one for me, no matter if you play it on MAME and no matter if you play it on cart on your home console, it will never ever reenact the arcade experience of going to the arcade in the 80s and early 90s and the whole atmosphere, from the music blaring to playing against guys and you know, just, you know, owning them and the whole experience of an arcade. You'll never relive that at home. But the reason why I love the card versions, because at the time I remember how amazing it was that they could fit that much of an arcade game in that cart, and I had a lot of fun, and me and my friends had a lot of fun playing those games. And for me, it is nostalgia why I like the carts. But if I really want to play and I don't have the game and I really want to play it right away, MAME does offer you the great ability in a lot of the games coming out now in MAME to play online against other people co-op. And I think that is one of the awesome advantages that MAME has over cart. Next up, JustinRGames. Games I bought recently. Number 1, Xbox 360 games. So if you want to check out his Xbox 360 games, I know a lot of people left comments. I know he's had other channels, and so he's back on YouTube. If you want, check out his videos, and wish him good luck for returning back to YouTube. Next up is Syphic My, most epic pickup ever, the NEC Turbo Duo, which if you don't remember the Turbo Duo, it was basically the TurboGrafx 16 card and the CD player together. He explains what was wrong with it, why I got the price it did, and some of the really awesome games he got with it. Really cool system. And he got Kid Icarus for the NES for $3. That is a game I'd love to have again someday. So, just to check that out. He also wanted me to let everybody know that in Southern California, and I'm going to read the message in whole, want to see if you have time in your next video to help shout out another event for those in Southern California. It's the Southern Californian Classic Collectors. They're having another convention on October 1st. The website is sc3videogames.com. I'll put a link below. I will be there along with LMA 187 and the Game Gavel will be there raffling off prizes as well. People are welcome to come trade and buy games and consoles, and I believe the trading tables are free and on a first come first served basis. Tickets are $10 online and $15 at the door. There are also going to be live acts, video game art as well. This year they're also bringing in more modern gaming along with traditional old school stuff. Check it out. So if you're interested, go check out the website to find more about that event. It's always cool when YouTubers get together for an event. And last but not least video is by Duel123, Final Fantasy VII Challenge, Solo Cloud 1 Part 1, the beginning. What he does is he's going to play through this game with just Cloud as the playable character throughout the whole game. And he put in his message, hey, if you like to showcase some great videos, I want to bring this series out to the gaming community, starting a Final Fantasy VII run with only using the main character when available. I don't usually make these type of gaming videos and would like to blend some of the challenge mode gamers in with the rest of the gaming community with me, doing a challenge run. Hope you enjoy this. I just started. So if you're interested, go check out the video and give them support for a new series. So guys, that's it for now. I will see you all on Wednesday. We'll get back to the medium channel, small channel format. Just been kind of, goofy with the shortage of web and making videos lately. So, till next video.